What's up, guys? In this story, I'm going to tell you why and how I was charged with conspiracy to commit hijacking, conspiracy to commit kidnapping, and conspiracy to impersonate law enforcement. So this was during my craziest of times in my life. I was out on bail already for multiple charges. I was facing decades in prison, and in all likelihood, I was already done. My life was finished. I was going to go away, and that was it. So I was completely reckless and fucking suicidal, borderline, psychopathic, everything. And it was during this time that the government began investigating me and put me under surveillance. Also during this time that they began alleging that I was the ringleader of multiple different groups, organized groups that did different crimes. One faction, they said, was robbing drug dealers. Another faction was involved in construction equipment and heavy machinery, the theft of that and the exportation of that abroad. And another faction was allegedly to have been involved in hijacking tractor trailers, big rig trucks, and offsetting the loads and stuff. So it was with regard to this last category of group and crime that they say that I was involved in leading the whole thing of that I ended up getting charges from. And the reason I ended up getting charges from this is because one of the guys that was in my inner circle, the few people that had access to me, he brought to me someone who he told me was a very good friend who's trustworthy to him, who then made an introduction of another person who was supposedly a truck driver. So again, the story that they allege was that there was a tractor trailer that I wanted, okay, the contents of which I knew and that I wanted. And it was during this time that I didn't have any drivers available to me. So I needed a driver, real short-term notice. This guy came in the mix. My friend fucked up and vouched for the wrong person. His own friend, who brought the driver in, also was working as a fucking informant. That guy has an open contract on him, from what I know, and him and his whole family disappeared in witness protection before they even made any move against me. So they were well prepared in advance to get rid of this guy. Nevertheless, that guy went bad, and he introduced the supposed truck driver who was actually a New Jersey State police officer undercover. Okay? At these times, I never really fucked with anybody. I didn't talk with anybody. I knew I was being watched. I didn't fuck around on phones or anything. So I have tapes from this time that the government had to give to me in discovery during the legal process of their actual surveillance that the Secret Service was assisting them with, and also audio cassettes of all the phone taps. In all of that time, they barely ever called me on any phone because the only time I got on the phone was if it was someone else's where I had to talk very briefly. They did get me to meet with this undercover driver because I needed to talk to him and let him know what was going to happen and, work out certain details. So I did meet with this undercover state police officer. This was a multiple agency investigation. So it was a multiple, point task force. It was New Jersey State Police. It was robbery, theft, and cargo. It was street gang unit. They were all being aided by Secret Service in the surveillance capacity. It was Bergen County, Prosecutor Sheriff's Office, Passaic County, Middlesex County, Hudson County, all of these agencies together coming at me. And ultimately, when I ended up getting charged, I got charged by a special prosecutor for organized crime. So my charges were bumped up to Attorney General to try to finish me and throw me away. So they had me meeting with this undercover truck driver, and in those meetings, a plan was discussed, all right? That plan was for me and another person to be in a vehicle that was, outfitted as a police vehicle, okay? So we're in this vehicle. We were going to track this truck, pull him over on the New Jersey Turnpike, and remove the driver from the car. As we did this, our own driver, this fucking rat motherfucker undercover, was going to get out of our car, jump in the truck, take the rig to a predetermined location, take the load, and get rid of everything else. Because these things all had low jacks on them. They all had tracking devices, most of them, even the actual cargo itself. So we were well aware of what we had to do. All allegedly, again, guys. So these are things I was charged with, so I can speak freely about them. So the plan was, again, we remove that guy, we take the truck, and we move on. Because of that, and because of this fucking undercover motherfucker, this was the only time that the government was ever able to pin anything on me. And they were never able to actually catch me in the act. So they had to set me up with this bullshit conspiracy. But I was given conspiracy to commit hijacking for taking the truck, stopping a movable vehicle, and then taking it. Conspiracy kidnapping for removing the driver under false pretenses and detaining him. That's kidnapping. And conspiracy to impersonate law enforcement because we were acting as cops. So these 3 bullshit charges, plus some other little additional ones I got, had me facing fucking 30 years plus, just for this. So this was what was happening back then. They were trying to pin a whole bunch of shit on me. They made all kinds of allegations on me, but they never actually got me with shit. Aside from this, they did have me with some guns that they caught me with. I had modified weapons charges, defaced weapons charges, a bunch of other shit, but that was a different story. This one I wanted to share with you about how I ended up with this. I was actually shocked when I actually got the charges months after I was in jail with no bail, and I saw hijacking and kidnapping. What the fuck is this? This is crazy. But that's what I got hit with. In addition to all of that, during the time I was on surveillance, I didn't realize how far back it went. They actually did have me where there was a truck load of Tommy Hilfiger clothing that was taken and then sold. They knew all about that. They had me for that, so I got hit with those charges as well. But in any case, guys, this was during my craziest time. I know a lot of you like these crime stories. I'm not proud of none of this shit, but this is what the fuck it was, and this is what the fuck happened to me. After I got arrested, I was interrogated by the Secret Service and these other agencies for 17 hours, handcuffed and shackled in a cell with a camera. In that cell, they caught me with a handcuff key trying to take my shackles off. I didn't get charged with that, luckily, but, you know, I got so many stories like this, guys. So if you enjoyed this, let me know in the comments, and I'll continue to share with you. So thank you for listening. Bye.